February is the month of love, and we love our data here at Tanium, and I know you do too. And your management's going to love you when they see these new reports and charts that we are cranking out at Tanium. You're going to love the new reporting interface that you're going to get a preview today on Go-Tanium Tech Talks. Yes, I have a pink backdrop today. That's rather unusual for me, but hey, it's February. It's Valentine's Day coming up here soon, and we love our data at Tanium, and we know you do too. And we know that because you've told us how much you love it. You know, think about this scenario, right? Management comes into your cube and they say, I need everything with X. Give me everything with X. And you say, give me 15 seconds. And they say, give me more, right? Because they love the data. They're addicted to that data that they get out of Tanium. Well, before we jump into our show today real quick, I want to give you a quick commercial. So if you're not watching the other Go-Tanium shows, you're really missing out. Doug Thompson has the Go-Tanium podcast. You can find it in any of your podcast apps that you like to use. Just search for Tanium. Check out his great thought leadership interviews that are really interesting conversations with people that are movers and shakers in the world of Tanium. Also, if you like Twitch, hop over to Twitch every other Tuesday afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern. Cam and Moshe are streaming the latest and greatest from the Tanium console there. They just had Mike Niehaus, who was on our last show. He did an even deeper dive on Tanium provision and how to deploy Windows 11. And those episodes go up on YouTube once they're done, the same place you found this show. So go check out those other Go-Tanium episodes. Now, today on this show, Go-Tanium Tech Talks, we are interviewing none other than Jason Ellison. You've probably seen him speaking at Converge, our annual user conference in November. And Jason and I were on the same team when I hired in here at Tanium. Jason, introduce yourself.
Thanks, Ashley. So my name is Jason Ellison. I'm a product manager here at Tanium. Responsible for most of the main components of our user interface, from our console, interact, trends, and the new reporting component we're talking today, as well as some shared experiences, including accessibility and globalization of our products. And I've been with Tanium for well over 5 years. Spent a lot of that time with Ashley. Including some memorable moments where he cooked up some great banana pudding for us.
Oh yeah, those are some great times, man. Banana pudding. So we're not in the South today. I'm in Ohio, actually, and it's the reason I'm bundled up. It's pretty cold out there. We got a few inches of snow on. Jason, where are you? And tell us about your snow forecast.
Yeah, I'm actually out of North Carolina near our Mooresville office. We actually had our snowstorm last week, and that's, the snow we usually get every 3 years, I think, down here in North Carolina. And then it goes back to 60 degrees, and then it'll, dive down, and we'll get another 20-degree day and a little bit of sprinkles. So I think we have about a 50% chance, which is, I guess, hit or miss. This weekend we'll get snow.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what. Before you got into this role as the PM, you were the trend SME, I remember, on our team. Tell us a little bit about the backstory here with where data visualization has come in Tanium.
Yeah, so I mean, Tanium has always had the most compelling view of the live data in your environment, like what is happening right now. And I think that's one of our very unique offerings with Tanium is that we can say, like, this is the state of your endpoints now. And, other products out there, other solutions aren't able to match that. And what we wanted to add to that is the ability to tell stories of, success with Tanium. And so to have that historical component that we added with trends, which lets us say, not only were we able to show you what's, needs action in your environment, where we can do some remediation, where we can improve patching, where we can improve rebooting endpoints that are maybe sitting around for days and days and days without being rebooted. We can show you where that is right now, but we can also show you how you improved the environment over time. And then you can share that with everyone in your company, starting from the engineer all the way up to the executive level. And so it's always been my passion within Tanium to be able to, capture and tell those stories. And joining the product team has enabled me to work closely with them to help, bring in new capabilities to do that.
So typically when customers go into Tanium, they're in Interact. Is typically what we think of the primary Tanium experience. That's evolved to now what we call Console, which is a little broader. But we've got a new experience called Tanium Reporting, where in the past you might have used categories and dashboards and save questions or trends or even connect to export that data to another place to visualize it. We're bringing that all into the console now. So Jason, tell us about this new reporting interface.
Yeah, so what we wanted to do, because we have some significant capabilities built into Tanium today and feedback from users that, it is easy to use, is we wanted to tie all of those things together. We wanted to, take the capabilities of asking questions and interact, take the capabilities of looking at data over time and trends, take, data that we have locked into our modules today and kind of expose it in a central reporting interface. And so we've spent the past year really working on laying the foundation for that, putting in our TDS caching layer so that we could support this new underlying reporting service that's in use today in our customers. So if you're using Comply 210 or above, or you're using Risk, it's actually built on these reporting components that we're going to look at today. And what we're doing now is moving to expose these foundational components to everyone.
So I hear a familiar refrain of an innovation story there. Customers ask for it, and we've built it. In this case, you were telling me before the show that it's taken us a while to get here because of what you just mentioned. It's a whole new foundational data layer across all the modules, which really is going to improve the individual module homepage experiences, as well as this front dashboard that we're going to have now. So what can you show us here today in your demo environment about what this new report's going to look like?
Yeah, let's jump right in and take a look. I think that's the easiest way to explain what we're doing here and kind of show that off. So the first thing you'll see in this environment is that essentially we have some dashboards right on the Tanium homepage. So as soon as I log in, I'm able to see what's important to me, to see if there's something that needs further investigation or something that I need to take action on in the environment. So instead of having to ask a question or go elsewhere, again, as soon as you log in, this information becomes available. The other really notable thing is up at the top in the navigation bar, we have this data tab, right? And the reason why it's not in modules like you see with our other products is because, again, this is a foundational component that's going to be the underlying reporting for our products going forward. And we wanted to make sure that, again, that it was expressed in that way. This is part of the core platform. And so I have a couple options here, and let's jump right into the Data Explorer. So if I wanted to look at data in this environment to create a new report, I can do that. And one of our goals here was to make this whole process of finding the data and turning it into information much easier for Tanium customers and users. And so you can see here that if I wanted to do, say, a basic report on where I have Chrome in my environment, I can go ahead and just kind of start to look for those sensors. So, I can look for computer name, and you can see it gives me a few options here. I can pull that in. If I want to do this as an inventory report, I can start looking at installed applications. And again, we'll pull that in. And this is a pretty common view that Tanium customers have gotten used to, which is kind of seeing these results nested. And this can be difficult to use, difficult to understand, because I'm seeing all the installed applications for every computer here. So one of the big requests that we've gotten from customers and that we've actually implemented in this is the ability to kind of select how that data is seen. So I can, press the button here to change the nesting. And now I have, for each endpoint, one line for each application.
So it's flattened. Nice.
it's flattened. You don't have to export it through Connect. You don't have to export it to CSV to get it to flattened. You can do it right here in the interface. And what you see here, again, is what will happen if I download this as CSV or if I send this out through Connect. So a common theme that you're going to see with reporting is what you see here is what you can share with your users if you give them access to the report or if you send it as external data elsewhere.
So I'm just guessing as I look at this, I see like uninstall column, right? That's not really going to matter to a business user. They just want to see the app name. So on the left, I'm looking down here. There's like an X by some of these columns. Can I just take out the columns I don't want?
Exactly. You can actually get this report to exactly what you want to see. And so maybe I don't want the inventory information there. I just want to see the Chrome versions in my environment. So I can quickly pivot here. And again, just a few clicks change what I'm seeing. You mentioned installed strings. So that is actually kind of an issue if you don't want it, because what you can see here is even though I have the same versions of Chrome, I have different installed strings, and that's creating the different counts here. And I don't care about the install string. I just want my versions, right? And so we give that to you with this new tool, and I can come in here and I can just remove those columns I don't want, right? And now it's collapsed down to exactly how I want to see the data, right?
I just heard somebody stand up and cheer in their cube. That's awesome.
Yeah, the feedback on this early feedback from users on this has been pretty positive as well. So again, we can see that we have the versions, but maybe I want to turn this back into an inventory report so that someone can maybe take action on it. Or maybe I just want to filter out even the current version of Chrome. So I don't want this 97 to be in this report. This will just be an outdated version of Chrome report. Again, I can come in here and you can see that this user interface is really crafted towards what the user is doing. It's suggesting that we filter on installed applications because we pulled that in to our report. So it helps you get to the information you need quicker, right? And so we'll just say version, and we'll say is less than 97, and this will just give us all the outdated versions in our environment. We're going to tie this together, and you can see how that quickly filtered that out. And then if we want this to make this a little more actionable, maybe we pull in that inventory information. So, we had computer name, and maybe we want an IP address. But again, this is one of the things where Tanium is so powerful, right? It can bring back all this data from the endpoints. But how do I find that data point that I'm interested in? And you can see when I pull back IP address, I have options here. I have NAT IP address, I have IP address, I have Tanium client IP address. Which one do I want? And we wanted to surface that information right away with the description. So you can just hover here and you can see exactly what is going to be brought back. And we can
nice. And I'm looking at this available columns. It says 426. There's over 400 sensors I can map into this. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. And new types of sensors as well, because we decided to make this, again, that foundational experience that we've spent over a year working on. So not only can it pull data from endpoints, it can pull new sources of data that are only server side. So
get out of here, man. That's crazy talk.
Yeah.
Everybody always wants to know the last time the machine was online and they can't pull it, right? This is awesome.
And we're going to give you exactly what you want here, right? So EID last seen is the current name for the sensor. We'll probably adjust that a little bit, but you can see this is the exact time that the Tanium server last saw the endpoint. And you can even filter on that. So like, I only want endpoints that are online now, or maybe I want to filter this to just things seen within the last 7 days. I can add that type of filter to my report.
Oh, man, I'm loving this.
But it opens up other sources too, not just, when it was last seen, but we can bring in things like risk score, right? So I can prioritize which of these endpoints maybe I tackle first, or even asset criticality is one I really like. From risk, again, if you have risk installed, you can define for these assets, is it a critical asset, is it a medium? And this helps with my prioritization. And so I can add this to my report. And again, like everything you see here, all these columns we've added, if we decide to go in and rename a column, if we decide to remove a column, if we change the width of the column or the sort, all of this gets saved alongside our options here. So when someone else views it, they'll see the same thing that I'm seeing.
So that's my next question, right? Is how do I save this so I can come back to it? But I don't want to get ahead of things.
Yeah, let's tackle that in just a sec. We'll do one more thing here. So, before I had a good count of what my versions were out in my environment, and that was useful information too. And now this is more of an inventory report, so I have one row per endpoint. But I want to still see that kind of count of overall, like what are these different versions. So we added back this capability to add essentially a simple visualization to a report, and we can come in here and we can say, we want to see this by asset criticality. If I wanted to see, breakdown by that, or I can even see it by, that Chrome version. And so here you can see counts over time. We can just add a quick title here, and I can add this to my report. And the nice thing again is this becomes part of the report. So when someone else opens it, they see it. And they can even quickly filter on this too. I can click on this and my report filters down to those values, right? And this gets updated alongside the data below. So if we filtered this to a specific Windows version or a computer group or a region, again, all of that filtering takes place.
Man, I tell you what I love about this is because you and I have been around. You were a trend SME. You know this, that if you would create a new trends report, you would have to wait for that data to populate at a minimum of like 10 minutes before you would even see anything. But you're getting like real data from TDS, which is the cache, right? So we've got this skim of metadata across the environment. So you're actually seeing this data in real time, interacting with it. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, exactly. That TDS cache that we put in place, and all that work that we did to get to this point has really enabled this capability. So you're getting the complete view of the environment, the last known state of all the endpoints we have here, and you're able to filter this data any way that you want and kind of see that latest picture. So I know I got you excited about a bunch of these new features here. Let's save this so we can share it because that is actually one of the features that we're excited about as well. So if I go ahead and I save this report, and we'll just give it a quick name here. What I want to call out here is content set. So this is fully RBAC-V2 aware. And what that enables is you to essentially set up content sets that are restricted to certain users. And so you can set up content sets that are only visible by a certain team within your organization, or you could set up a content set where users only have read access. So your subject matter experts can actually build out these reports. They can get them the way that the user needs to see them and consume them. And then you can give read access to those users within your organization that need to see it. And that way they don't have to figure out how to build the report. They don't have to figure out any of this stuff. They just have an easily consumable report that they can go to, and they can make a decision, and they can impact their environment in a positive way.
Man, that's fantastic because we can delegate then console access to the governance risk compliance GRC team, or middle management who's always filling out these reports every month for whether it's vulnerabilities or patching or whatever you're reporting on across the environment, and just give them their own dashboard where they can dump it out in CSV and really make them self-service. A lot of people are going to love this.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's that really curated view that you can now provide, again, with a high level of control over what's being seen. You can add context, and we'll see a little bit more of that. So, I have this beautiful report that I can return to, that I can share with my customers. And again, even when they're viewing the report, they're able to filter this more. They're able to save this if they have that ability. If you give them the action to write reports to a content set, they can save it as their own report with their own filters attached to it as well, so people can kind of adapt it. But what I can do is now take this report and actually add it to a dashboard too. And this is pretty exciting because one of the challenges with trends was, I was in Interact or I was in a module, and I'd get to the data the way I wanted to. And then if I wanted to track it over time, I'd have to go to trends, and I'd have to set up a new source and recreate everything that I did, and then I could create it. So we wanted to make this a much easier experience. When I come in here and I edit, we can add our Chrome outdated versions report that we just created. I don't have to set up a new source. I just pick that report, right? And then I can pick whatever columns I'm interested in here. So in this case, we could even do it by asset criticality. So we could monitor which endpoints in our environment have outdated Chrome versions that we view are critical. or we could even do, again, that type of a version report. So we'll go ahead and just do versions. Right. And I can go ahead and, we have many options here. So starting with, the traditional bar and donut charts, but we can also do over time or a number chart. And the interesting thing here is, again, I don't have to think about it. If I want to do over time tracking of something, I just pick the report and I add it to the dashboard here, and it will automatically start collecting that data over time. I don't have to think about setting up a source and doing that. So we can go ahead and we can just do that. And you can see, since we haven't collected that, we don't have any historical data, but we can add this to the dashboard. And again, a really big ask of trends that we've heard from customers is they wanted more information dense dashboards. So we have a grid system here. And I know people are going to be very excited about that. And I'm able to just drag this around and get it to whatever size I want. And the visualization will change. If I go to a set minimum size, it changes into what we call a micro chart. And as I expand it out, it's able to add more detail back to that chart. So we can add this, and we'll just add that in the bottom here, and we'll save that. And again, the great thing here is these are all tied to reports. So if I want to drill into that data, if I want to see more information or investigate further, I can click on that, and I'm back to that report I created with all that detailed information in it. And it's consistent. It's the same data, right? The numbers match up here.
I can really see how this would change IT culture in some ways, because traditionally, manager asks the admin, give me everything with X, and they go through all the rummaging through all their systems and data, create a spreadsheet, and then email that back to the manager. And that's a bit old school even, but that's where I live, or came from anyway. I don't live there anymore, but I mean, that was the old school way of doing things. Now you can just create a dashboard, grant them access, and they don't even have to come ask anymore. Right. And you just set up the dashboard. It's self-service. They can get the numbers. They can dump it out themselves if they need to send it somewhere else. This is really nice. I mean, it's going to save so much time on reporting.
Exactly. And that's the goal here is to really enable users of Tanium, whether that's, managers, executives, or engineers, people who have areas of responsibility within the company that they need to get this visibility. It can easily be surfaced to them, and they can self-service. And you can even, tie in things like organizational goals or SLOs, so that you can, again, help direct those users to what they need to pay attention to. So, for example, these host firewall enabled yes, no panels that we have here, anything above 10%, without a firewall, it's going to turn this chart red, right? And so we're able to kind of direct the user that this needs more investigation.
All right. Well, we're running short on time here, Jason. So let's talk to the admin for a second. What do I need to do to get this?
So we are actually in LA and moving to EA with this today. It's part of the core platform, so it will be eventually enabled for all Tanium customers. But if you're interested in participating in the LA or EA, limited availability or early availability, reach out to your account team, or I believe you have an email address that we can use, Ashley. And we'll set up a discussion to see if we can turn this on in your environment, and you can provide some feedback to us.
Yeah, folks can email go@tanium.com if they would like to join this. And also if they, as an early preview, and also if they have feedback, things that they like or don't like about it, let us know. You can email us at go@tanium.com or talk to your account team. So once this is live then in production for everybody, is there anything I need to do to turn it on or to configure it to get it going out of the box?
No, once it appears at the top, it's ready to go. You can start building reports. You can start building dashboards. The only thing I would say is that currently we are limited to data that's being collected by TDS. And so those are sensors that are registered by the modules, that are registered by Tanium, that we feel are important, as well as sensors that you can register yourself through the Interact module. But we do plan on adding that ability to do live queries later in the year.
Well, speaking of what's coming later, that was my next question. That's a nice segue. So this is the first drop on this new capability. What's in store later? What are you guys thinking about adding?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the big one that we're focused on right now is pivot to action. So we have this great new capabilities for visibility, but right now, when I dig into any of these reports, I don't have that ability to control my environment, and that's a really important part of the Tanium visibility and control story. So we're currently working on enabling that pivot to action right now. The reason why it's going to take a little bit longer, we're tackling that here in Q1, is that we want to make sure that we open up new possibilities as well. So not just the normal deploy packages, and I get a list of 100 packages and actions, and I might be overwhelmed with all the options, but the ability for the user to say, this is a report on outdated Chrome versions. I want the actions here, at least the ones that come up to the top, for the user to be, uninstall Chrome or update Chrome, right? The context sensitive ones. So again, you can provide those capabilities to users if they have access. And we want to open up actions that are in our modules today, right? You shouldn't have to pivot into patch or deploy or enforce to take any of the actions that are available in that module. We want to open those up in these reports as well. So I'm really excited that we're adding that control to these reports, and that is our focus right now. Like the idea here is we don't need people going into the modules anymore. Like if they have patching set up correctly, they don't necessarily have to go in there very often. They can log into Tanium, they can see all their patching on their homepage, and they can go directly to the reports and take actions or corrections from there without having to go into the patch module. And this really will tie together, patch, deploy, enforce, comply. Like I can see my comply vulnerabilities and I can pivot from there to deploy patches, right? Like that's the grand vision here. So,
man, you talked earlier about a foundational change. This really is a foundational change, because traditionally admins have had to drill into every module to get something or to take an action of some kind with that specific capability set. But now bringing that all up to the surface, here's all the data, just take action right there while you're looking at it. That's really going to be an interesting. I want to have you come back on a future show and let us know when that's ready so we can see it work. That sounds exciting. Anything else as we wrap up today for folks to take away?
No, I think we hit on the main points, and I'd love to come back, as we add additional capabilities to this product, to this foundational experience. The great thing here too is as we add these capabilities, as we add these new things, the products that we've already integrated this with that are built upon it, they also get these capabilities too. So you're going to see a rapid advancement in what Tanium can do across all the products as we start to expand this out.
Thanks, Jason, for coming on the show today and giving us the latest release here of, it's not called Interact or Console anymore. This is a brand new category on the Tanium homepage called Reporting that you'll have access to very soon. If you would like to get that access now and start previewing it, email us, go@tanium.com. We'll get you hooked up with the right folks to get that turned on in your Tanium cloud instance, or even if you have on-prem installed Tanium, we can help you get early access so you can give us that feedback that we know and love. And speaking of feedback, hey, this is a YouTube show. Smash that like button down there if you like what we're pumping out here. We'd love to see it. And subscribe to the Tanium channel, hit the bell, all that stuff the YouTubers say. We'd love to keep you up to date on more releases like this. And this is, if you've watched this show for any length of time, you realize you asked for it and you get to see it released live here on this show. So we're happy to bring this to you on Go-Tanium Tech Talks. So until next time, Go-Tanium.